From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is The Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, comedian Nate Bargatze, plus some news stories with Chris Loxamana. And now, he's salty and nuts, but he can't seem to get any salted nuts. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The choice we're going to make it. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. We love that about you. Nate Bargatze's in studio. I watched a stand-up special last night, Hello World. It's on Amazon Prime. And very funny. Clean, nice, thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it thought-provoking?
Well, it's no, it's not thought-provoking.
Yeah.
But as a comedian, you analyze other comedians and you go, why is that funny?
Yeah.
Because there's premises where you go, oh, this is a funny premise, you know? And then there's your premises, which are interesting and like nuanced.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm hitting a place. I've done now 20 years in comedy, and you hit a point where, some of it you're like, I don't even know if this is a joke or is it just you being funny up there and you're funny versus, because when you first start, it's like the joke. It's like it's all about you write a joke. And so, but then now it's almost like you're just up there being funny and you're talking about, I talk about just my life and observations and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's a different, it's a whole new world. Even now, like I'm building a new hour, and it's just I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest.
Well, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
It's what I think what it is when you start off, you have to write jokes. Like when you start off, you kind of have to cover songs if you're playing for just a crowd that showed up to the state fair.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to hear your original shit.
You have no voice. No, you have no personality
but
up there.
They know Peter, Paul, and Mary, and so you'll hit a few of those and some Crosby, Stills, and Nash. But then as you move on, you start sprinkling in your own stuff, and then eventually the people who show up want to hear your stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you just got pushed out on stage and no one knew who you were, and it was night at the Apollo, and you're doing 5 minutes of my dad's front door was a sliding door, like you're doing that, or the waitress walking out, like routine, they'd just be sitting there going, who the fuck's this white kid?
Why? No one cares.
But now you get to the place where your audience comes to expect it, and then they appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, you kind of look when you start. You look forward to, or you want to get to that point, or you hope that you get to that point where the people are coming there to see you, to be in your world. Because it also, that's what I think makes the stuff funnier, is because you're setting the tone over years of just, you want them to picture you in this scenario,
right?
And if they can picture you in this scenario, then they're laughing at their own jokes about just imagining you doing what you're doing or what you're going through. And it's very fun to be in this moment now and just see what, when
you show up, that's your audience.
Yeah. Now you do. Yeah. It's great.
All right. Off the subject, but I was thinking about this last night. The people who, after you finish a story, they go, you already told me that story. I realize they're mean people.
Yeah.
It's not really necessary. The story's done. But the person that cuts you off before you finish the story can be helpful. I think those are two different people. Like they're people who you start going into something and they sort of politely go, yeah, we talked about that last time I saw you. That's the nice version.
Yeah.
The mean version is to let you finish the story and then go, you already told me that.
It depends on who you do it to.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do that? Because there's sometimes I would tell someone if you're annoyed and you're like, all right, dude, I don't want to hear this story again. But then, like,
But that's if you catch them early in the story.
You got to catch them early.
Yeah. If you wait till they finish, then it's just you being mean.
I look at everything as, I learned that, like, in life, you can tell, if you can say no to something, like someone asks you to help them move, if you immediately go no, it's like we can all laugh about it. But the longer you wait for that no, the more uncomfortable it gets.
Yes.
But if you just right out of the gate was like, pick me up at the airport, you go, no, that's crazy.
Right.
And then you said it that quick, everybody like, I'm sorry, I'm joking. And you would laugh and you'd move on. But if I waited a few hours and then was like, I'm not going to pick you up, then now you're mean.
You know, it's interesting. No, and like if you asked me to pick you up from the airport and I just went, no, it actually means the exact same as when people go, I'd like to help, but, and then something after that.
Yes.
It's the exact, it's funny. You have no, which is a definitive not picking you up from the airport. And then you have the I'd like to help but people. And they both go right back to the same place, which is no ride.
Right. No ride.
From the airport.
Yeah.
It's a softer blow, though, that I'd like to help. I think that's why people
They try to
do
be
it.
sweeter.
Yeah.
I always tell my wife this. I tried to make this a joke. I don't know if I ever could. But it's the idea of when people say it doesn't hurt to ask. Because it does hurt someone to ask. The person that's like, if I asked you for $1 million, you could be like, I could ask everybody that, but the people that have to say no, well, that if the person does it like, I don't want to be just mean to people, and you're making me kind of say something mean to you because you're asking for something ridiculous.
Yeah, or just something.
Something, anything. Doesn't have to be $1 million, yeah. But they go, well, just ask everybody. It doesn't hurt to ask. All they can do is say no. And you're like, yeah, but you're not going to handle that no great.
Yeah.
It's all about how you handle the no.
And I think it's sort of the people from the same camp, which is you're supposed to just, when you're a single dude, you're supposed to go into a bar and just ask every single woman if she'd blow you back in the hotel. Like, and somehow, mathematically, 2.5 women would say yes. Like I get it, but do you really want to walk up to every woman in this bar and ask for a date? Like, but it's the same.
It's the same idea. It does hurt that person. If the person doesn't care to say no, then it doesn't. But I mean, there's also nice people that are like, yeah, I don't want to just have to be saying no. Like, you're asking an insane question.
Maybe these are also the like second cousins of the people that are like, if I could get every person in America to send me $1. We have 330 million Americans. If I could just get them all to send me $1. But it never works. The bar never works. It doesn't hurt to ask doesn't work, and the dollar doesn't work.
Yeah.
You did, as I was watching your special, though, and you're talking about your parents' first house when they were 23, I think, having a slider for a front door. First off, it's always funny when after the show people go, "Is that true?" Like, is that true? It's like, how do you make that up, or why would you make it up?
Yeah. I don't. They told me that we were eating at a Mexican restaurant, and I was just talking. I just would talk to my parents. Sometimes when you're trying to come up with stuff, you're trying to remember like growing up and like trying to see if there's anything to talk about, and that's what they told me, and it was exactly what happened. Or I just was like, that doesn't make sense. And I still doesn't make sense. They still say it was.
Well, I don't want to be a one-upper, but I grew up in a house with 2 front doors, regular wooden front doors, right next to each other.
Oh, wow.
So
why did they
you're
have
kind
that?
of bragging there.
Am I one of it?
Yeah.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
I had 2 swinging front doors. You had one. We both had inappropriate front doors.
Yeah. Why did you have 2?
Well, because the house was like 110 years old. It's like the oldest house in the valley. It's a pile of crap.
Is it like a white and black door? Like,
That's right. We had 2 separate sinks inside. We had 2 separate toilets. We had a lunch counter that only my black friends could
You ever go do like an old theater? Like there's those old theaters where the whole it's crazy. The top is like where black people had to sit and all that.
Every theater that I've played in this country was built in 1914 or 1927 or something like that. You've played these same theaters. They're just old. I mean, there's really old and new theaters. There's not really medium theaters. Like, you don't play any theaters that were built in 1992. You play the ones that were built in 1922 or the ones that just opened, some venue like that. But it was always, at the very top, the Negro balcony is at the very back. Like and
they don't make it more comfortable for today. That, like, it's not like a lot of them, they're not redone.
There's still shitty seats.
It's still like it's just poor white people up there, and they're like, well, they're still making it not easy.
You're still thinking about. It's weird how every theater has to make it known to you before you go up there. By the way,
yes,
that top section there.
Yeah, and everything backstage is way too low because everyone was short. So there's a lot of watch your head.
I never thought of that. That's why I was short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I had a thought about being short. Chris is short.
Yeah.
No one wants to be short, but the reality is you can get chicks when you're short. Chris always got chicks. And then flying commercially is a lot easier. I'm 6'2". Chris and I both get on the same flight. We're in coach. I'm miserable. He's fine.
If I was blindfolded on a flight, I wouldn't know where I was sitting.
You wouldn't know where you were.
You could see me anywhere.
Right. So
first class coach, business.
Being tall seems good, but you do end up sort of packing yourself into a lot of positions. I race cars. None of them are comfortable. They're all too small. Yeah. You have to kind of tuck in, get through the roll cage and all that kind of stuff. In this modern era, no advantage to being tall.
Yeah.
You feel claustrophobic in that?
No, there's two. You know what you feel like? Like you feel with your harness and your fire suit and all your helmets and everything and your 6-way harness and everything's packed in. You end up feeling more like a dog in a crate with a thunder vest on or something. Like you end up feeling more secure than standing outside. And then some people would freak out and just not be able to handle it. Yeah. But I end up feeling more secure.
I think I would freak out. I used to not. But then claustrophobia, I talked about in the last special. It happened like in my 40s, and then it like hit me. I rode a ride at Universal Studios here with my daughter, the Simpsons ride, and my leg when they pulled the bar down because my wife and daughter are with me and they're small, so they pull it as tight as possible.
Right.
And then I got stuck, and it just opened
It's one of those rides
door.
with the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
Is that the one where you filmed your special up there?
I filmed my special? Yeah, I filmed it there, near that ride.
Yeah.
Where I had it was kind of crazy to be like, the ride was right there. And I was like, that's where... Because I didn't realize... Because it takes a minute to realize that you have claustrophobia. Like, you have it, and then you forget about it, and then I was on a plane, and you're like, oh boy. And you're just like, I had it at a car at the Just for Laughs Festival. We're all in the back. I get in the back seat of this car, and then I have to stop the car and make everybody get out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it all just kind of hit me.
Yeah, you never realize it until you have an episode.
Is that a panic attack or claustrophobia?
They probably come together. They're probably married to each other. Like they're,
It should be clusterphobia, right? You had all those guys in the car.
Yeah, it should be.
You're
Clusterfest.
Like you're all stuffed in the back of an SUV. We got a question coming in from Cleveland, Ohio, and then I got thoughts as well. John, 48, Cleveland.
Hey, guys. Thanks for picking up, Adam. Nate, I think you're the best stand-up alive today, so I'm a little intimidated with my stupid jokes here. But Adam, you have your list of things to do before you die, right?
Yes.
So I thought I might throw a couple on there for you if you wouldn't mind here.
Yeah, we should find that. It's in my book somewhere. We should find that list if we're going to get on it. But go ahead, John.
Yeah, the first one is live in the penthouse of a luxury hotel for no apparent reason.
Well, that's cool, but usually there's a reason you live in the penthouse of the, like your Elvis or your Howard Hughes. I don't know if Howard Hughes had a reason, but all right, good.
There you go.
Give it a 5.
Next one. Yeah, get a bullet removed by a veterinarian.
That's strong. I'd like that. Yeah.
It's like a story
Here's one.
with it.
I'm sorry, I saw this in a movie. I thought you might like it. Have crates dropped off at your compound by helicopter.
It's esoteric.
They might have artwork or dinosaurs, depending on what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Not sure the necessity of the helicopter, but maybe if you're up on some mountain chalet and it's inaccessible to trucks or something like that.
Right.
But all right.
All right, a couple more, and then I'll shut up. Conduct your business while being fitted for a suit.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's a power move.
And then and then walk through a restaurant kitchen and taste something and keep walking while no one looks at you.
All right, wait, say that one again. Walk through.
So you walk through the kitchen of a restaurant and you taste the dish and then just keep walking.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, when people run through kitchens in movies, no one ever stops them, and the kitchens are very big.
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
You're like, there's no one. This kitchen staff. I can understand the first few people not stopping them.
Yeah,
but there's not a guy on the fryer that grabs a knife. Is like, yo, this dude's pushing everybody.
It's all knives and frying pans. It's like running through a gun store and not having anyone shoot you. You know, you can't. You're right. The people. Yes, the first group of sous chefs would be surprised,
shocked. They don't know what's happening.
But as this chase continues,
and you get deeper to the kitchen workers who have probably been in some trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because the staff at the beginning by the door, they're going out with the people. So those are, the farther you get where the people are not allowed in the restaurant.
Yeah.
This is what they've been like, I've been waiting for this my whole life. Like
the guys deep in the restaurant have long rap sheets, aren't scared to throw down, pretty territorial.
Yeah.
Also, what's running through their mind is this is some old gangbanger they were affiliated with who's coming after their money or their stash or something. You're right. There'd be a lot more resistance.
I agree. You need to enter from the back to get to the front.
Yeah.
Because you need to surprise them. But if you let...
Yeah.
It gets harder,
And also, they always make a mess of the kitchen, too. They slide across the prep table and take a salad bowl and conk some guy on the head with it, and everyone just stands there looking surprised.
They're just working. They just want to get that food out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're too focused.
You're right. They would react.
Yeah, there's got to be a few guys back in the back that are like...
Well, whenever they do one of those movies...
And I would think if you are one of those chefs, you think of this scenario. You see those movies and you're like, well, I work back there. So you're kind of like in your head, like you think if I worked at a gas station every day, I would think about getting robbed and what I would do.
Yeah, you work that scenario out 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you're right. They should be prepared with all the depictions of this in movies.
That should be a business. You should go to restaurants and prepare these cooks for people running through.
Yeah, you're right. There should be an app.
An app?
An appetizer. Yeah, you're right. It goes on too long.
It goes on too long.
And people just sort of get out of the way and look surprised. They never really yell, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
There's no context for it. Yeah.
So he's got a girl with him, like running too.
And to prove the point where these guys are all felons who aren't scared to throw down, whenever they do a movie, like in Heat, where they need to recruit like a wheelman or a second story man, it's always he's working at the diner and they go into the kitchen and the guy's chopping something. They're like, come on, one last job. And the guy's like, I want straight, man. I want to do something.
I don't do that anymore.
They're all felons in that kitchen who are in for aggravated assault.
Yeah.
They would anytime you need a fourth guy in your group to rob a bank, you have to go to the back of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't go find the DJ. You don't go find the maitre d' or the host. You gotta go to the back.
You gotta go to the back.
Now, when you're doing the Blues Brothers and trying to get the band back together, then you go to the host.
Yeah.
That's different. That's
You don't ever go to the back of the kitchen.
You would never go.
They would go to the back of the kitchen. You go, I'm not going to waste my time going to the back of the kitchen. I know what I'm here for.
But when you're robbing a bank, you have to go right to the back of the kitchen.
Yeah.
There'll be a guy there. He's a little beleaguered. He's got half a tattoo, peeking down.
Peeking under the white shirt.
Under the shirt. He says something about his old lady, and he says something about going straight.
Yeah.
But we lure him back.
Yeah, he wants to come back.
He doesn't want to be there.
But if you tried to run through that guy's kitchen, he would snap into action.
Yeah.
You get a skillet, El Kabong, right in the forehead.
If he's in control, he can tell you, I don't want to go back. But when someone runs through and at him, the instincts kick in.
Yeah.
He has no control over that.
He's like a cat in the Serengeti, just seeing a gazelle go by.
Yeah.
Snaps in. Instincts. You're right. This should be discussed more.
Yeah.
Just not by us. I think we did about all we could do on fracases in the kitchen. All right. Andrew, Atlanta.
Yep.
Let's see. You got some comments about the band President of the United States. What? Oh, the band.
Yeah,
the band, the President.
Yeah, the band.
Nate, do you
You'd
know?
be shocked to hear, Adam.
Wait, hold on a second. Do you know the band, the Presidents of the United States of America?
I don't.
Who didn't even stick around long enough to get an abbreviation, if you think about it. Like Stone Temple Pilots got an abbreviation. There's a lot of bands that get an abbreviation.
Yeah, they could have been POTUS.
Yeah, they should have gone with POTUS.
POTUS would be a great name for a band.
Yeah. Their hit from 1994 was Lump.
This one's Peaches.
Oh, they had Lump.
They also had
I
Lump.
do know this song.
They had Peaches. Oh, you know it already?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
This made it out to Hickory?
This made it all. This was Old Hickory. This made it. This just got out in Old Hickory. This is on our mainstream radio right now.
A hot.
Oh, it's just breaking.
It's just breaking. Yeah.
It's climbing the Old Hickory charts.
We just got the Eagles won the Super Bowl T-shirts, and we got this.
This is Lump.
Do they not have a bass player?
What's that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone remembers this one. All right. So now there's Andrew. Andrew's commenting on the fact, I like these guys. I met these guys, but in 1995, when Jimmy Kimmel was saying this is a big band, I was going, you're not going to hear from these guys in a few years. That was my prediction. They seem like a novelty band to me. Yes?
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
So they actually have gone on, you're going to be shocked to hear this, but the lead singer has gone on to have a prolific career in kids music under the alias Casper Baby Pants.
Oh. Yeah, my theory is when you can no longer entertain adults, whether you're an author or a musician, you go into kids stuff. It's an easier.
So he's done probably 20 albums over the last, call it 10 years in kids music. Very popular with my 4-year-old and formerly my 9-year-old. But I thought you would be shocked to hear that, given the novelty nature.
Yeah, it's it kind of makes sense because they're already writing kind of novelty, pop songs. And now kids. Yeah, listen, I do not begrudge them. I'm simply saying, not everyone is U2 or Elton John, It's a different.
Well, even your favorite Lisa Loeb went on to have several kids albums that my daughter loves. So even the good ones sometimes go that route just to make some money.
I don't mind if people who can do things for adults, I love Jay Leno, I love Jimmy Kimmel. They've both written children's books, but it's not what they do all day. They can entertain adults and then do it the same way I could entertain adults, and then my young nephews could come over and I could entertain them for 15 minutes, but that's not my shtick, Yeah. That's fine. All right, interesting.
At least it's well produced.
Yes.
Most of the kids' music is just somebody in their basement making shitty music.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the update, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
That's important.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more Nate right after this. LeafWell. That is the #1 telehealth provider for medical cannabis certifications, helping people access the powerful health benefits of cannabis for chronic pain, depression, anxiety, insomnia. Definitely helps for that. LeafWell is kicking off a new year with a 20% discount on your certification with the promo code Adam, plus a 100% money-back guarantee if you're not approved. Stop the side effects of heavy prescription drugs. Yeah, that's a good place to start. Cannabis can be the natural, non-addictive medical alternative you should try first, not last. Medical cards give you access and can have benefits like huge savings on sales tax, up to 40% off or more, depending on your state. So get going with LeafWell. Right, Dawson?
Go to leafwell.com and get 20% off with the promo code Adam at checkout. That's leafwell.com and enter promo code Adam at checkout. Leafwell.com, promo code Adam.
Having a girl world is the only world that I know. And when you only know one world, the other world is like, you're like, I don't understand it. It's wild. Like, she plays with her friends. It's quiet. It's fun. My buddy wanted me to watch his son. He watched my daughter one time, which I learned is not a fair trade. I should get 8 watches to his 1 watch. I handed over a princess. He just throws a bobcat in my house. I lose him immediately. He's like under the deck chewing on wires. I had to wrestle him down. I was like, why don't you walk him on a leash before you bring him over next time?
Nate Bargatze is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Hello World, name of the special on Amazon Prime. Here's a thought, getting back to the kitchens.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like we've completely...
I was thinking about the bakers who just made a cake.
Yeah.
That cake's getting destroyed.
I was watching someone I was watching The Love Boat, and the guy holding the cake went down. And in every sitcom and every show I've ever seen, like from the 80s, they bury their face in it when they go down. I'll bet you people have done a lot of cake dropping, but the incidence of burying your face in it as you hit the floor at the same time probably never happened.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
The cake would fall.
The cake would go
way.
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you would just fall behind it.
You would want to land in the cake. That would cushion the fall.
Yeah, and you're not going to eat the cake off the floor. At least you can get a nice bite as you're going down and bury your face in it. But what I was thinking about with the kitchen, and this is in movies, and it was in TV shows, and it's now in like all these Gordon Ramsay shows and stuff. The kitchen is really the last place you can scream at somebody you don't know.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That shit doesn't fly in the lobby. There's no workplace. Meaning you can't go to someone's cubicle, like a woman's cubicle, and just start fucking unloading on her verbally. You know what I mean? You're the one who would be let out of the building. For some reason, in movies or in TV shows, they get to just go back into the kitchen and start screaming at everyone. It's the only workplace screaming that can go on with. Doesn't the restaurant have a whatever department? What do we call it? An HR department. And why does every other business have one? And why can they get away with it?
That's where all the quitting happens too. So if someone in the front wants to quit, let's go back to the kitchen.
No, you're right.
And then you let it, and then it's once the door. So it's just a place of, because it's almost like a restaurant is like kind of all on the open. Mm-hmm. You're out there with the people. You're at the bar. Everybody can see every action. So obviously, it's not like let's go to the back and they'll tell you how good you did.
Yeah,
we're going to tell you that up front.
Yeah, it's better to quit. The reason it's better to quit in a kitchen is anytime you can punctuate your quitting with throwing a smock on the ground, you've made your point. You know, now these poor kids, everything's tech and everything.
They make the door easy to get back there, too, because they don't even want... It's almost like you might lose some of your venom if you had to open it. So they're like, no, we're going to let you just... you have no resistance.
It's the only door that doesn't slow you down.
Doesn't slow you down.
You can walk with purpose.
Boom. Yeah.
You burst through it.
And
then you roll up your smock and you throw it on the ground. Now, like I've quit jobs and thrown like my hat on the ground, but then I had to double back and come in and ask for it.
Good hat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and I don't have a job.
Yeah.
That's a $23 hat. So
you take a hit.
You take a hit when you start throwing your own shit on the ground. Yeah. But the smock is their property. And that's why it goes onto the ground.
What is this? I don't even know what a smock is.
It's like the apron?
Oh, the apron?
An apron is a smock, or a smock is an apron.
Yeah.
I don't even know that there's a difference between a smock and an apron.
Oh.
I think a smock and an apron are exactly the same thing.
Well, you had to start untying it before you quit.
Oh, if you got...
Because it's behind you.
Right.
Oh, and you want to...
you got to give like the timing's pretty important.
You got to lead off. If you're stuck there fiddling with it after you quit...
Yeah. What?
You got to walk up. Could you grab it? Could you untie it?
Really important.
I forgot I did double knots today.
When you tie a bow, you do a bow behind you. Mm-hmm. So I have this weird thing. Like I tie my shoes in a bow, like everyone does. But like once out every 33 times when I untie it, it turns into a knot. Yeah. It doesn't just open freely. If you tie a bow behind you and try to pull it with one hand, it could turn into a knot, like fast. And so you got to pre-do that before you march into the kitchen, because if you're giving the boss man a piece of your mind and you're halfway into it and you reach back and it knots up and then you have to struggle with it and try to pull it over your head in the middle of a rant.
It down your like pants.
Dropping it. Yeah, like a skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I mean, then you might as well ask for the job back. You go right there.
At that point, it's a momentum buster. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't struggle with a smock trying to get it past your shoes while you were telling your boss what he could do with his job.
Timing has to be, I'm getting out of here. And then before you're saying I'm done, that's when you start.
It's already off.
No, I say break it loose from the back.
Before you even get going.
Yeah, before. Then storm through the door without slowing down, the flappy doors.
Yeah.
Then as you're telling your boss what he can do with his job, at the end, you can freely pull it off. And he's not going to say your smock's undone, from behind, still going to be hanging there.
See, I think that's if you do that, you're prepared to quit that day before you show up. I'm in the heat of a moment and you want to quit. You don't want to show
premeditation.
Right. Yeah, you might want to show if you're like, I'm going in to quit today and I want to cause a scene. I think you can untie it because it's already. That's how they would know. Oh, he was quitting.
He didn't even tie his smock.
He was.
He had his foot out the door and his smock untied.
Get-go. But if a guy did it kind of in the moment, you're like, something happened out there.
Yeah,
something happened.
That's a good point.
That's enough.
I don't know if they make a Velcro smock, but something with a tab on it with a kind of quick release that's not so clumsily tieable. Like
you do it all the way around the front.
Yeah, well, that's a longer leashed smock. Yeah. I've had zero success with taking any hospital gown and tying it and then trying to untie it without it knotting up on me. So my smock quitting would probably not work out well. Maybe I could do like a tearaway smock, like when the chicks come out to host SNL in like a suit and then they pull it off and they're wearing some form-fitting thing. Maybe just pow.
And some snap buttons on it.
Yeah.
If maybe as a restaurant, you would say when you buy these smocks, you say let the string just be able to tie it in the back. So if there's any violent quitting, I want them to have to struggle because if they go to the front.
Yeah.
It's like it's too easy.
Yeah, you're right.
People would be quitting. People would be quitting every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, you're right.
So if we get in the back where at least there's some hesitation.
Right.
I would take it a step further if I managed this restaurant.
Yeah, because we're not managing it well. Because people are quitting.
You are not.
We have people running through the kitchen. People are quitting regularly.
We hire felons.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is this place?
If there's a guy, like you can sense when there's a disgruntled employee, they're kind of staring at the ground.
Yeah.
They're always grumbling about something, whatever. If I thought that guy was on the edge of quitting, I'd offer to tie his smock for him when he came in that day.
Yeah.
And first it would curry some favor with him. Like, maybe I'm not such a bad guy. I've offered to tie the smock, but I would knot it up in case that guy was thinking about
do
making
it at
a
a
statement.
table when he's at a table. He's like taking an order. It comes out of nowhere. He's taking an order. You come behind him. You go, hey, your smock was untied. You go, how good is this guy? And then you're like, and then he doesn't know what to think. And you got a little double knot thing. And you go, and it's game, set, match right there. You're like, what
are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Somebody asked the question, but they fell off the line of that waitress who left you guys at the restaurant from the special who just kept going.
The restaurant. So I didn't say, I might have said it was a different restaurant, but the restaurant, it was called Po Folks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, do you know Po Folks? I don't know if it's Southern restaurant, but it was...
a lot of smocks hit the floor there.
I want to say Shoney's type, but maybe like more fast food Shoney, but with a server, something like that. Everybody was
casual.
Po.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's Po at Po Folks. I mean, the people that own it are Po, the people eating there are Po. It's... that's who did it, and she left. And I don't remember much, but I remember her. I remember sitting there, and I remember they never came. And
she took your order?
She took her order, and then they said she quit.
How was her smock tied?
this was definitely a smock-tied place, but she just silently quit.
She just what?
So she did. It was, the thing is, it got us involved. No. She took her order. So she took her order, and then that was it. I don't know. No one thought anything about it. We didn't think anything about it. Like, she just went, I guess, out the back, got in the car, and drove home.
Do you remember what you ordered?
No, I don't remember. I mean, it was, it's like a fast, burgers, fries, like maybe chicken they had.
But it didn't ruin that for you.
No, it just, remember, we sat there. It's like one of those where you're watching people and you're like, I definitely know those people. The people you're watching people leaving. Right. They're done eating, and you're like, I know we were here before them.
Yeah.
And then you ask someone where they're, can you find our server? Well, they don't know she quit. So then they try to find her, and then they give up on looking for her, and then they have their own tables.
Yeah, there's that thing it's an interesting part about being a human. Like when it's taking a little too long for you to get your food, and then you always do that move where it's like, that couple showed up after us, and they got their entree. I think it'd be fun to just call restaurants, pre-order, and tell them, I'm going to show up after the table next to me, but come running out with my food immediately just to ruin their experience.
Troll all the other customers.
Just troll them all. I have a note here that some prisons use Velcro smocks for suicide prevention.
That makes sense. That's what our smocks at our restaurant would be. So it's that.
This looks like a bulletproof smock.
I know. No one's robbing you if your servers are wearing those smocks.
Right.
If you're, because it's like, where did you get those? And you're like, don't worry about it.
That's pure intimidation right there.
Yeah, that's the smock they give you at the dentist's office when you're getting x-rays.
Why do they even give you a smock?
I guess prison? A lot of guys work in the kitchen.
Yeah, don't want to get those prison clothes dirty.
I think there'd be a lot of... No one could run through a prison kitchen without us throwing down.
That would make it past the first line. Yeah.
All right, well, let me ask you something that happened to me last night, and it'll shed light on how I'm wired in a multitude of ways, and then people. Nate, you're successful now. You have some square footage.
Yeah.
Maybe there's help. Maybe you got a maid coming by every other week and sprucing the place up. But what happens is you get successful, and then people start entering your world. Like people get the posse, the security, the guys who travel. There's just more people around you. But a lot of those people have thoughts about where your shit should go, and they never tell you about it. So it's like, I remember looking for, I think it was toenail clippers. It was toenail clippers that I had sitting out on top of my desk. But the maid took the toenail clippers, and while she was cleaning up, just took the toenail clippers and dropped them in a leather-bound pencil holder. Lower than the top of the pencil holder edge.
They're gone.
Dark.
Yeah.
Now,
black hole.
I'm searching 18 inches, opening desk drawers, looking under the desk. They're sitting right there. She just took things that were sort of generally the same shape and just putting the pencils and the pens away. I'll just drop it in. There's never a Post-it. There's never any warning. There's never anything. I just end up like a lunatic kind of walking around the house going, where are my toenail clips? Where are those things? I don't take them outside. I didn't take them with me on the road. Like they're on my desk. I just leave them on the drawer. I'm opening every desk in the drawer. Then doing the move where you've done looking everywhere, and then you go, I'm going to look in these drawers I already looked in because maybe it appeared.
They have to be.
Right. And then people going, leave the person alone. They're just like trying to help. And I was like, yeah, but you can't hide shit. This is hiding it. Putting the toenail clippers in the pencil, the leather-bound little pencil holder, which is 6 inches high and the things are 3 inches long, is no different than digging a hole in the backyard and burying it. Those are my chances. Like 3 years later, I was just moving or cleaning up or something, and I literally just dumped it out, and it just fell out. So I have a belt. It's my jeans belt. It's like the belt I use. It's a leather belt. That's like your belt. It's traveled with you. It's been around you. It's seen. It's loved and lost. You know what I mean? But it's always been there. And it's broken in. It's the leather belt that's broken in. Brand
your skinny
new
belt, your fat belt.
It's all belts.
It's been all of them.
It's been all the belts.
It's a part of you now.
It's a part of me. It'll never go away because you will never wear out a belt, you know, especially if you're doing comedy or podcasting or something. But it's broken in. Like the new ones are shiny and kind of stiff. Like if you could almost hold them out, it'd be like a semi-erect penis. Like
you got to drive your car over them to break them in.
Yeah, you got to hit them with mink oil. You know,
like an old baseball catcher's mitt.
Yeah. The holes aren't yoked out sufficiently, so it's just a little bit of a fight. Also, with your belt, you have your holes.
Yeah.
New belt, no established holes. It could be any hole. Later on, when the belt gets broken in, it just slides right into those holes.
Don't get married to the first hole.
You've worked them out. Yeah. You know what I mean? So about 4 months ago, I'm like, where's my belt? And the belt just stays in the jeans. I'll do a set, come home, drop the jeans. Now people will go, well, that's gross. You should be washing the jeans. And I'm like, I used to wear jeans when I did construction and I only washed them like once a week. I'm doing a 20-minute set at the Laugh Factory. Which jeans aren't dirty.
Collectively, you've worn those jeans for like 8
jeans
hours.
are weird. You're not supposed to wash them too.
Yeah.
People are.
I drove over here in an air-conditioned vehicle. I went out. I did 15 minutes. I came home. We don't need to wash the jeans. I leave the belt in the jeans and just throw them on the sofa in my office. Well, at some point, the belt's missing, and I have no idea where the belt is. And then I start doing the thing, which is almost like a molestation victim with a priest, like blames themselves. You know, it's the most insidious thing. I blame myself. You know what I mean? Like, I must have been on the road. We had an early call. I got up in the morning. I threw it in the backpack, and it's in like some pocket of some bag or somewhere. I start looking under the sofa, like maybe I got drunk and dropped the belt and kicked it under the sofa. You know, I put it on me. It's on me. So into the closet, tearing open all the backpacks and the set, all the stuff you go on the road with and stuff like that. Then like going through the hamper. Then physically like looking underneath. Now, 3 months go by, and all I can do is go, where's that fucking belt? I don't buy a new belt because I don't want a new belt. The new belt is shiny and hard, and it's not broken in for me. And I'm also a little like, I have an attitude about it. Like, I didn't leave this belt somewhere. I didn't lose this belt. Where is the belt? Search and start looking in the condo in Malibu and looking at the other house and looking under everything and going through everything. And then I was out. First off, I don't want to talk this long without you talking, Nate. Any belt related thoughts?
No, I'm enjoying it.
Do you check the pencil holder?
I could have been wrong. I go into REI when we're in Baltimore. We were in Timonium. I got the day to kill because I got 2 shows that night, but I got nothing to do during the day. And I go in to the REI and I inquire about the belts because they got they got kayaks, they got wetsuits, they got bows and hunting knives and shit. But
they have like a functional belt.
They have some belts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I go look. They go, yeah, we have some belt offerings. You know, it's not belts plus or belts galore. But they're belts.
This is a camping store.
So I go look at some belts, see a leather one that looks pretty nice, but it's also shiny and stiff. And it's $50. And I'm like, that's too much belt for me.
Yeah.
I don't deserve you got to earn that belt.
By the time that belt's broken and you'll be
$50,
long gone.
but if you're going to keep it forever, you know. I thought it'd be your belt with REI. You're like, you go in, it's like, hey, this belt looks familiar. And the guy that owns REI came in. That's what REI does, is they go into people's homes and because everybody's like, man, their belts are great.
Yeah, they're broken in perfectly right off the rack.
So I see another belt. It's only $19. I go, this is a little more in my range. But it's a travel belt. It's got a plastic buckle, and you pull it through and tighten it up like a Cub Scout belt so you can walk through airports without having to pull it out, which I don't think's a thing anymore. But I settle on the $19 belt. I buy the belt. Still perplexed, angered, and flummoxed that I can't find my old belt. And then at some point, somebody's going through my closet in my home and points out that there is a belt hanging rack that has some belts on it, but is accordion between a bunch of long sleeve shirts, like literally just mashed between the shirts, not visible to the naked eye when you open the closet. I then run to the closet, open the closet, find my belt because somebody pulled it out of my pants in my office, some person I pay to be in my house, and then walked it around to the hall closet that I never go into, and then hung it on the belt thing, and then pushed the shirts back and sandwiched it. So while I was I was in that closet looking for a belt, never saw it.
You can only find it when you're not looking for the belt.
Basically, you don't want a maid.
You don't.
Yeah. You need to get rid of a maid. I don't think you want one.
I don't want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
off her smock
gist
and
of it
throw
is
it.
to go, I'm not, your wife could want, you should just have sections to go, don't cut, we don't need to be in here.
Well, now you're up against this, which is a thing I do, which is I'm now paying an extraordinary amount of money for the maids, but do not come into my space and touch my shit. So now it's essentially you paying for a dog groomer for your neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
You get no benefit from it now, but I'd rather just deal with my own shit and not have any more finger clippers in the pencil box or belts, beloved belts hidden from me.
Yeah. Or it's fun, or make it fun and be like, I don't know what's going to happen today.
Yeah.
Just like wrap your head around it and just
Is
go
it my car keys?
Yeah.
Could it be my wallet?
Yeah.
Maybe it's an inhaler.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun scavenger
Clear your
hunt.
schedule anytime they come over.
I hope she does it on purpose. That would be the bet. Is like she goes, I don't even clean your room. I just go in and get your belt and your clippers. Then if you walked in and nothing's
I don't run
clean,
the vacuum.
She goes, I haven't vacuumed this room in 15 years. But I do make sure I grab one thing and just move it.
My argument with the belt is it's the same thing. I sleep with one of those night masks.
Yeah.
The night mask will always get put away into the nightstand drawer. It sits on top of the nightstand. I would argue there's certain things that never need to be put away. You don't need to put your toaster away. It just lives on your counter. Mm-hmm. I would argue that eye shades and belts, I don't think belts need to be put away. Is there something, anyone went into a room, there's too much belt in this room, I can't focus. Or I walked in, like, why is that cast on your arm, Steve? Walked in, tripped over a belt.
Yeah.
Your belt, it takes up no room. It needs to be out. You need to be reminded, where's my belt? I would argue, I would say nail clippers, belts, eye shades, and toaster ovens never need to be put away.
So leave them out.
Leave them out.
They're conversation pieces.
If you go I was thinking with the belt, you might just have to tell her, I don't wash jeans.
I never talk to her, though.
Oh.
I'm always gone.
Well, this is not fixable then.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
Maybe I need to hide the belt.
You might, or you could put it in the belt where she puts them, where the belt thing is.
Yeah, because
I mean,
belt thing?
she's only put stuff back into exactly the thing that it's built for. Like you can never, besides the clippers.
Yeah.
But the belt thing, it's very funny that you did find it on a belt holder.
I would argue we don't even need belt holders.
I mean, that's an argument. And she could say, well, why do you even have one then?
Yeah.
And as it was pointed out to me that I did have access to some belts, but they were dress belts. Mm. And a dress belt with jeans is weird, right?
It's
Tennis shoes.
You can't hold them up.
It doesn't look, it's aesthetically, it's pretty screwed up, right?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So we've reached consensus on that. All right. Well, that's all I had to say about belts.
Well, Madam, so Nate, I just found out, is going to career day for his daughter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What is that like? Have you done that too? Because do you have a set prepared? Do you have jokes?
last year I was next to a surgeon.
Oh man.
And so it was like a whole, you know, I mean, he's like a real dude. But I think they're like, because I get like our job is cool and like but I don't know what to say to, you know, it's like she's in 5th grade now, but you know, when last year's 4th grade, and like you're like, I don't know what to tell, you know, when you're like, you don't need school.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like,
These people you're looking up to are losers.
Yeah.
They're the people who couldn't hack it in the private sector.
These people are the problem with what's going on. You just tell me the opposite. You got that guy over there.
You know what
everyone take out your homework and rip it up.
Yeah.
I had this notion when I went to my daughter's. I think I went to her career day, or I can't remember, but when I went to go watch her volleyball playing, I might suggest this to you tomorrow with career day. They're not going to get your jokes. They probably have never seen any of your sets. They're not watching your specials. They're listening to the guy from the presidency of the United States of America.
Yeah, they are.
Sing songs that were tailored.
I might tell them that.
Tell them you're that guy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, and you brought up the surgeon. My policy now is I'm just going to keep a set of scrubs in the back of my car, and anytime I show up to any event that involves my kids, I'll just come walking in a little out of breath. You know what I mean? All right, I'm here, but I got to get back pretty soon. And then everyone, you show up in sweatpants and a t-shirt, and you want to leave after 3 hours. You're just the shittiest parent in the world.
Yeah.
You show up in the surgical scrubs, you're a fucking hero. And no one questions you about having to get back. No one will ask you where.
And people are going to be like, did you know Adam Carolla is also a surgeon?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. You're like, that's crazy, dude. You know, how does he have time?
Why don't you show up in surgical scrubs and tomorrow, if you really want to gild the lily, put the hat on.
Yeah.
That's the just stepped out. Like I'm scrubbed into a surgery.
I might put blood on me.
I just stepped out
Kids
for
would
this
love
shit.
that. Put some blood on you.
Yeah.
And go, you don't even want to know what happened this morning.
That's right.
I can tell you that guy's not going to have any more mornings. And they're like, what? You got it. I'm making my wife go because, you usually just, as you want your wife to be like, can you just be here? So,
yeah.
Because wives are good at like talking, you know.
They'll take the lead.
Yeah. Last year I had like meet and greet passes. So it's all about giving these kids something. And then so I had like a bunch of old meet and greet passes. So I was like, I'll give that. And I was like, I'll sign them if they want me to sign. But then my daughter's like, she goes, he'll sign it. Just tell him your name. And I'm like, I didn't say that. And so now I have kids with just, no one has normal names.
Oh, sure.
And every kid is like telling me their name. And I mean, the whole time is just like trying to write out all these names.
Well, not only are they insane names that no one knows how to spell, but if they have a normal name, they spell it differently than what you know.
And they'll tell you.
And they'll tell you. You know what I would do if I were you tomorrow? Because no one's really, again, they're not going to have any context for the stand-up. I would find out what the guy behind you in line did. You know, fireman, surgeon, whatever, dog catcher. And I would just go out there and say that was your profession, just to fuck him up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I used to do this thing when Jimmy and I did the Man Show once a month or something. We get this stack of headshots. You know, we'd have to sign them like at our desks. And there'd be a picture of me on the left of the picture, and he'd be on the right. And we'd be like holding beer steins up. And Jimmy would always sign them first, and then he would write on the picture, on his picture over him on the right. He'd write like ziggy zaggy, oi oi oi, or something, or keep on keeping on, or something. He'd write something like keep on keeping on, and then I would write keep on keeping on in front of mine. But of course, mine came first
on the left. Yeah,
I was on the left, and then Jimmy would get pissed because he'd think everyone wrote, he copied me, but he would go first, and I would do it first. That's what you can do to that surgeon. You can just get up there and go, I'm a surgeon, and then that poor schlub's going to have to listen to you. You could riff. They don't know enough to bust you on that.
Yeah.
And then he's going to have to come out and go, I'm a surgeon too, and people are going to go, another one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's going to have a boring story because his will be real.
His will
and
be
my
real.
story will not be real.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yours can involve a dragon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or an elf or something. You know what I mean?
As Seinfeld, Kramer goes, you got to work on he goes to a veterinarian every day because he guy's going to work on a dog, a turtle, a rat, all in the same day.
Yeah.
That's all Seinfeld. I don't know.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll do some news. Nate will hang out for a little while longer. We'll do that right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Love these guys. Glad to have them on board. Nobody loves cars and does more wrenching than me, and that's why I'm so excited that O'Reilly has joined us for 2023. It's O Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in store or online. Get points and rewards sent straight to your phone or your inbox. You can get 2, 3, or even 4 times the bonus points on select purchases to get you to your next reward even faster. Receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Rewards points. And if you're already an O Rewards member and not receiving the rewards, just add your email or mobile phone number and get a $10 reward just for updating your existing account. And you sign up. And it's quick and it's easy. Just go to O'ReillyAuto.com, O'ReillyAuto.com, or do it in a store. That's an O'Reilly store.
As we celebrate 14 years of podcasting, here's another memorable moment from the Adam Carolla Show's Ace Awards archives.
Were you on The Man Show?
I was indeed. Oh, my heavens. You mean you don't remember? I'm heartbroken.
Who's this, Agnes Moorehead?
It does sound like Agnes Moorehead.
Love it.
No, I don't sound like Agnes Moorehead because she sounds a lot deader than I do at the moment.
She is.
But, yeah, I was on The Man Show. Do you remember a segment called, what was it, The Women of Uglyville? It was allegedly, as I recall, a village that was established by Hillary Clinton full of the ugliest broads on the planet as a home for wayward husbands.
Some guys are just obsessed with Hillary, can't get over it. Which one are you, Melody, so we know which one to look for?
Well, I show up a couple of times, but you'll see a waitress bowing into frame with a horrible grin on her face.
Okay.
And it was probably the most fun audition I ever went to because I got a chance to really look absolutely lousy. I walked in looking like 10 miles of bad road and got the job.
Normally she's 9, but
she went the extra mile.
9.
Now, for some new memorable moments, let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right. I remember that call.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird, what's weird? I always think about it, Nate. You can tell me what your experience is. You can do an audition we're just auditioning ugly women. And the women who come in to audition to be ugly do not think of themselves as ugly, but they do think of everyone else in there as homely who are coming in for an audition. Like if you do a corporate gig for lawyers and you go, you walk out on stage and go, lawyers, they're such miserable pricks. They'll all start laughing.
Yeah.
But it's like, but we're talking about you, but they don't think they're talking about them.
Yeah, not me, everyone
Not
else.
me, the lawyer.
Yeah.
Not me, the homely woman. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would imagine it's like if you're auditioning that, I don't know if you want it or don't want it. You want the job.
You would like to be rejected.
Yeah. You want to go like, all right, this is ridiculous.
You're not.
You can't be in here.
Right.
But you hold on, so you tell the person, no, wait. Don't leave.
Oh my God. That would be the word. Okay. So every modeling story, every hot chick.
Oh, right.
There's a rule that hot chicks can't know they're hot when they're 17. So when you talk to any model, any hot chick, you go, well, they always go, I was a tomboy. I was an A student. I thought I was going to be an engineer, And you go, well, why are you into modeling then? And I go, I went with a friend to an audition.
That's support.
And then I was picked out.
Yeah.
Which I always think is bullshit. But the story is they went with a friend who was auditioning for a Noxzema commercial or something, and the casting agent pointed at them, which is awesome. But if you're going for the ugly, homely man show audition, and that happened to you, that would be brutal.
I did. There used to be I want to say it was JCPenney or maybe Castronauts. You remember that store? There's I don't know.
I haven't heard of that one.
I could be making that
out
name.
here.
I could be making that store up completely. But there was like this, they did like a modeling like in high school where like you wear clothes from JCPenney and they do it in the mall. So we went with a bunch of friends and I was the only one that didn't get in. All my buddies, they were the models.
We had the mall model squad here too at like Bullock's or Broadway or something like that. And my best friend did get the modeling gig. I didn't go on the audition, but it was understood. I didn't want to waste my time.
I showed up with just like, I thought, well, I guess we're all just going to get it. And they gave it to every single one of our buddies except me.
I had the same thing happen. Yeah, I applied for a store called Hollister. It's like, and it was a group interview. They take us all out to like the food court area. They line us up. And she's like, oh, just Hollister, we want to make sure it looks like you just got back from the beach. And she's walking back and forth like an army general. And she stops at me and goes, "You're good. You can go."
All right. Well, let's do a little news.
All right. So remember Lady Gaga's dogs? That whole story about her dog walkers walking the dog, and a guy shot him, and they stole two of the three dogs.
Yes.
And then so Lady Gaga goes and she says, "If anybody can return my dogs, I will give you a $500,000 reward, no questions asked."
Yeah.
So this woman comes back with Lady Gaga's dogs. Like, I got your dogs, but it turns out that she was part of the kidnapping team.
All that's going to do is get Paris Hilton's dog kidnapped and Katy Perry's dog kidnapped, because if the scam is kidnap the dog, then wait for the reward, and then underline the no questions asked, then you just take the chick in the group, not the guy who worked in the kitchen with 3 strikes. You get the lady,
the host,
to bring the dog back to Lady Gaga. There's no questions asked. And then get the $500,000.
But I mean, wouldn't she get the $500,000? Should be no questions asked.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So she returns the dogs. They find out that she was connected. They find everybody else. The trigger man's going to jail. Everyone's going to jail except this lady just gets charged with something. Struck a plea deal to dismiss the murder charge, 2 years of probation. But she returns the dogs, and Lady Gaga does not give her the $500,000. So now she's suing Lady Gaga.
I do love this.
Yeah,
world.
so she's suing for breach of contract, fraud by false promise, and fraud by misrepresentation. And she wants to be compensated $500,000 plus compensation for financial damages, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and, quote, loss of enjoyment of life.
You know, first off, she has to have some lawyer's got to go contingency on this. This she's not paying billable hours. This chick doesn't have deep enough pockets. She had to find a lawyer who will do this on contingency. If I get you that $500,000, I'm taking 40% plus expenses, you know? Right. So she had to walk into a lawyer's office and pitch it.
Yeah, Mr. Garrigus.
Mr. Garrigus. So she had to sit there and go, I want to sue Lady Gaga. And the lawyer's got to go, what were you, a personal assistant or confidant or an accountant for her? No, I didn't have a long relationship with Lady Gaga. Well, what did Lady Gaga do? Was she paying you under California minimum wage, or did she somehow did she traumatize you? Because the lawyer the whole time, when you come in and go, I want to sue Lady Gaga, that lawyer has to think you were her tour manager or something, right? Yeah. And she'd shorted you, or she didn't provide health insurance,
breach of contract,
or something like that. And it's like, at some point, he had to say, "How did you meet Lady Gaga?" And then this person would go, "I met her when I dropped her dogs off at her apartment." And they'd go, "Oh, you were the dog walker?" And they'd be like, "No, I hung out with dudes who stole her dog." And you want what now? But because it's no questions asked.
If you say no questions asked, you should be expecting that somebody connected to the crime will be coming forward.
I always do some questions asked because I want to leave the door open.
One question. I have one question.
One question.
And that one
Adam.
question might be for more questions.
Yes, like the genie.
Yeah.
Wanting more wishes.
Yeah. Or what if you had a lawyer? What if the lawyer brought the dogs back? She should have went to the lawyer first and say, I want you to go take these dogs back, so we want to remain anonymous.
Yes.
And
That
you have attorney-client privilege there.
And then the lawyer gives the dog back, and then it's like the lawyer just makes it deal with it.
I think you could have a priest do it too, because you're not allowed to ask them questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now this is like split the room, because half the people are like, fuck that felon, and the other half are like, hey, no questions asked means no questions asked.
I'm not rooting for the felon, but it's just,
Principle of it is, you
it's
said
like a weird,
I'll turn off the
It's
lights.
crazy.
I'll turn around. Just
Yeah.
leave my dogs there, and if they're there, I'll pay you money. I'll give them
If
money.
I were Lady Gaga, I would just say, come get it, bitch, and I'll lawyer up, and it's going to cost her more to see this through in court. But this is a fuck me thing. She's got enough money. She's got F me money.
Mm-hmm.
She can go screw this bitch.
Or if or Lady Gaga, how you handle it? Go, I'm not going to give you the $500,000. I'll donate the $500,000 to a dog charity to show you I would pay,
Right.
but I'm not giving it. You stole the dog, so you don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's like I always think, it's like sometimes like if you get asked for money somewhere, like a crazy person's asking you, and you're like, in your head you think, I don't want to make you think I'm not gonna give you money. Or I always thought if you had a really bad server, and if you didn't want to tip them, you want to go, here, you're a horrible server, but I'm not trying to make you think I don't want to tip. And you're like, here's the money I would have given you. I'm gonna give it to another person.
Yeah, but that chick left.
But
She went home.
But she's not there.
Yes.
Where is she?
Lady Gaga's net worth $320 million. All right, she's got F me money. I say
she
fight
can
it.
afford it.
Yeah.
Fuck this chick.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So there are reports of Tom Brady. Like yesterday, so it was reported that Tom Brady's thinking about doing stand-up. Right? He's
Oh,
retired.
really?
Yeah. So some of his friends are like, yeah, they tried out he tried out his jokes on us. We're trying to talk him out of it. It's not. We don't want him to do this. But because he's been posting like viral videos lately. He's definitely been in front of the camera a lot more, and he signed that 10-year, $375 million broadcasting deal with Fox for 2024. But now TMZ just reported today that Tom doesn't want to do stand-up from another source, but he is working on a Netflix roast special where they're going to roast him.
Well,
He wants to just look like a person, dude. Like, he's
yeah.
I think Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever. I'm a giant fan of him, and I kind of started like getting over it. He just started popping up too much. He doesn't have the Manning thing where Manning's kind of like Manning's like funny and like they're
You can have
Eli.
a beer with him. Yeah.
They're like this kind of thing. Tom's like you're like go be an announcer, and then he started like posting underwear pictures and like it almost felt like the last year was him just trying to sell everything he's trying to do. He's got the TB12, and you're like, no one's doing the TB12. Like, I don't.
He is kind of the Tom Cruise of athletes. You know what I mean?
Like, you're like, go do your thing.
He's the GOAT, but I don't want to hear that much from him outside of doing
I'll go
what he's
watch
doing.
all your things.
He doesn't seem particularly human.
He surpassed it. Like, he's right. He doesn't seem like a human.
Yeah. I would just like him to do stand-up so I could be there like for the first night, like backstage, and he could be going out to do 4 minutes, and I could be like, all right, there's 22 people in the room. You're going to be nervous. There's no doubt it's going to hit hard when you get out there. But the question is would Tom Brady ever be nervous? He's walking out with 100 million people watching him play the Super Bowl, and there's 2 minutes left, and he needs a touchdown, and he's not nervous. You know what I mean? Would the nerves kick in?
I don't think he'd know.
So.
I don't think he'd know he was bombing. I think he'd go past the light.
I think
run the
your
light.
nerves it's different when you have when a joke doesn't work. I just the other night I had one little thing not work, and I felt like I got hot. I got and I'm done this for 20 years. And it was fine, but it's like, even when you do it for a long time, you have one little thing one little joke.
Can you tell us the joke that didn't work?
I was like trying to do a callback. I forget the whole joke, but it was like a callback.
Oh,
where I was
fighting in the kitchen?
Yeah. Something like fighting in the kitchen. Like, so I did it. It was a callback. And so then I was like, let me try this callback. And I tried it. And so when you do a callback, you're kind of sticking yourself out there because it's something that's kind of standing on its own. It's not. And then so I did it. And then it just got nothing. And then I just and I felt just the rush of the blood to my face. And then you're like, what's the next joke? And I'm just trying to get to the next joke I'm trying to get so far removed from that moment.
Yeah.
So
that could happen to Tom then.
I mean, you got to have somewhere to go. I don't know where he's going to go.
I hope he does it. I hope he bombs, and I hope there's flop sweat on him and his hand shaking. I would just want 2 minutes of footage of Tom Brady being insecure and nervous.
I do too, but I don't see a Tom Brady where he's not excellent.
I know.
He would have practiced a million times before even going out there.
All right. Can we do one more, Nate? I know you got a hard out here, but I think maybe we can do one more story.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more. So the Oscars are coming up. Jimmy Kimmel's hosting. So they have a crisis team in place.
Speaking of a crisis team in the Oscars, Jimmy sent me over all the monologue jokes, or just all the jokes.
Yeah.
They're 30 pages, And I just did what I do. I'm old school. I had someone print them out. And then I took them with me when I went on the road, and when it was in Baltimore, I was just in the lobby of the hotel, putting numbers by the jokes. I like this joke. I don't like that joke. He just said,
"You're rating them."
Yeah, he's like, I got enough jokes. I need you to help me sort through the jokes and tell me what you think of the joke. So last Sunday, I have 30 pages of numbers and little notes and just stuff, right? But then, so I send Jimmy text and I go, I want to get you back all this stuff. And he goes, yeah, okay, good. So then I go to my son and I go, how do I get this pile of papers to Jimmy? I got it in my phone too, but I don't know how to write the number on the phone. And he looks at it for 5 minutes and says, you're going to have a hard time. And I'm like, I can't. Then he says, take a picture of every page and just text it. But I was like, there's 34 pages.
That's a lot of data.
Right. So then I'm sitting around. It's a Sunday. And I'm like, I have to walk this to his house. I got to go old school here.
Yeah.
And then it's the only time in my life anything's worked out. I just go, I said to my daughter, did you say you were going to brunch today in LA or Hollywood or something? She's like, yep. I go, I got a stack of papers for you. Uncle Jimmy's house, where he lives? And she's like, yeah. It's like, okay.
She's a courier now?
Yes. Yeah. It's the one time I got some use out of my kids and them going out. Because I live super far away, but she was going there. And I was like, take it, put it in the thing. It's raining outside. I'm putting it in a plastic grocery sack and throw it over his fence.
Yeah.
I mean, how old school is that?
I mean, the most.
The most, right? Maybe Carrier Pigeon or Pony Express.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Same effect.
The Oscars.
But they have a crisis team in place if the Will Smith type slap happens again. So they're ready for anything now.
Yeah, what's the crisis thing?
I don't know. Just
hey, if anybody walks on stage and then stop it.
That's what the CEO just we got a crisis team. I want to do a press announcement here. Yeah, but exactly. What is it? Exactly what it was.
Well, the crisis team has to be composed of one of those 70s caper films where it's we need a knife thrower, we need a demolition guy, we need a second star, we need a wheelman. You need a licensed therapist, you need a security guard, you need an MMA fighter, you need emergency technician, someone who can stop bleeding.
Yeah.
You can't just have all muscle.
No, when is the Oscars?
The March 12th, Sunday.
Because Chris Rock's live thing comes out March 4th.
Oh, really?
He's doing a live Netflix special.
Oh, a live Netflix special.
And then it's
and he's not talked about it.
And he hasn't talked about it. And I saw him in New York, and it's it's gonna be awesome. And so Yeah, it makes it. Has it made it where I can't watch old Will Smith stuff now? I don't.
You can't not think about
I wanted to watch like I Am Legend or like just stuff on the road where you're watching old movies, and I'm kind of done. I can't even watch an old Will Smith thing. Like
not even Fresh Prince.
Takes you out of it.
Because it just takes me out of it. Yeah. You're like, this guy stinks.
Well, what about watching the shit out of Emancipation, where he's a slave, but he's being beaten constantly and thrown in a horrible cage? Maybe you could watch that.
Maybe you can watch that.
But his acting's good.
I thought about that.
That's not him kicking the ass of zombies. That's him getting beaten down.
Yeah.
I think we could watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the route he's got to go, is only do movies where he's getting beaten down.
Yeah.
Just getting flogged.
Yeah.
There's a Dodger named Will Smith. I can't even watch him anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He goes, and you're going, I'm sorry. They trade him. They're like, look, you're valuable to this team, but obviously we don't, we're just not Will Smith fans anymore.
The problem with the crisis team, whether it's, the Chris Rock thing, or even sometimes when the president, like when Reagan gets shot and stuff like that, all they can do is come in after the fact. They're kind of like the cops, but a little speedier. They don't prevent the husband from killing his wife. They show up after the wife is dead. Like somebody in the first row at the amphitheater just jumps up on stage and tries to take Dave Chappelle down to the ground. He's going to get there before any crisis team members arrive.
Yeah, what are they going to do if Harrison Ford walks on stage? Like, are you going to go tackle him? Like, you don't know what to do. That's the part that makes this hard, is it was Will Smith. It's someone famous. It's not a regular person would have walked on that stage, they would have gotten destroyed.
Right. If you were the security guard there the first time and I said, tackle anybody who walks on stage.
Meryl Streep walks on stage and you're like, she can't hit the person. And just lays them out.
I'll tell you who I want. I want Ray Lewis, and not in a suit. I want Ray Lewis. Full pads. In a 3-point, in the stance he's in before he blitzes, just right in the wings. It's like any shit happens, go. Yeah. You go. We'll sort it out later.
I want you on the balls.
That guy will take someone off you fast.
I'll tell you what, Lawrence Taylor.
LT.
He didn't die, right?
No.
Yeah. He might do it too.
Yeah.
He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah. Lawrence Taylor, probably get him out there.
He can handle it.
Yeah.
All right, let me give a plug to Nate. Hello World is the name of the special. Very funny on Amazon Prime. Watched it just last night. It's got live shows coming up all over the place. I mean, if you're in Dublin, Ireland, or Oslo, Norway, go out and find him. But just go to Nate Bargatze, and I'm going to spell it out, BARGATZE.com for any live shows and where you're going to be, right, Nate?
Yep, all there.
Always good to see you, my friend.
Always good to see you. Thanks for having me.
We'll take a quick break, come back, mop up the news right after this.
In celebration of Jim Carolla's upcoming 92nd birthday, here's a list of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Number 25. Worn work boots. Just one of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
All right, we got a little more news to go.
Yeah, so speaking of award shows, so the SAG Awards just happened, and Everything Everywhere All at Once won a ton of them, as usual, as they're probably going to win at the Oscars. But when they were presented with an award for Mark Wahlberg was the one presenting, and a lot of people were criticizing that choice, given his troubled history. When in '88, 16-year-old Mark Wahlberg hit a Vietnamese man in the head with a stick while trying to steal alcohol, and punched another in the face while trying to avoid police. One man was sent to the hospital. He served about 45 days in jail. So, of course, with that in his history, watching him give an award to an almost exclusively Asian cast was troubling for people online.
I'm also, as people in Hollywood, Wahlberg's kind of this guy, but in general, as they sort of slowly let out that they're sort of Republican, they end up getting commensurate amounts of shit.
Yeah.
Like it starts to slowly trickle out that they're basically conservative.
Right. Like, so he did that interview. Where he's like, I'm leaving California. He did an interview where he's wearing his ashes from Ash Wednesday. Right. So he's showing.
He's religious. He's whatever. It's kind of the same thing that happens with like if you take Jurassic Park guy, Chris Pratt. Like somebody found out that he's religious and he hunts and stuff like that, and so you start seeing some sniping. You know what I mean? Like now we got a beef. Hollywood is so fucked up that if you like announce that you're religious and you're conservative or you're, believe you should raise your kids or something like that, they don't like it.
Right. Oh, remember that there's that girl in Euphoria who she had a birthday party, and in the background someone was wearing a MAGA hat or something, and they tried to cancel her just because the attendees at her party.
Somebody showed up, her great uncle showed up to the fucking party wearing a MAGA hat. Yeah. So what you have to do is you go, well, let's say this wasn't Mark Wahlberg, like the thought experiment.
Okay.
Let's just say this was a guy, a black actor from The Wire, who started off in the streets, got into trouble, and then turned his life around and became a mega whatever. But he did punch an Asian when he was 16. Would they give a fuck about him? And the answer is no.
I find that the whole let's switch the races or switch the genders and see if it would happen, it never really works, right? I mean, it'll never be the same story.
No, well, it's a sticky wicket, but it's like if you said everything that Scott Adams said and just switched out black for white and white for black, no one would care, right?
No,
so
exactly.
And then someone else would go, yeah, but you can't do that. When now we're into a weird argument that can never really be settled. But no, it never does work. No, the biggest one is whatever the news does with the cop shootings. You know what I mean? If the white guy gets shot, it's like,
yeah. But so I guess the question is, can Mark Wahlberg be forgiven for something he did when he was 16? Now
we don't care. Nobody cares. That my argument is whether it's Mark Wahlberg or Cecil the Lion. No one gives a fuck, you idiots. Remember when everyone was, that dentist shot Cecil the Lion? It's like, yeah, okay, it's one less lion. Sorry. Oh, no, we're outraged. Like, you're outraged. All right, well, call me when you're outraged about the next thing that you're not outraged about.
Yeah.
There's too many fucking stupid people who spend too much time looking at their phone and not enough time like tilling soil and tilting up barns and doing shit like that. I just had this talk with Dr. Drew. He's like, why is everyone going crazy? Mm-hmm. I said, because they've lost their ability to think clearly. But the only thing that really, college doesn't give you the ability to think clearly. Building shit and fixing shit gives you an ability to think in a linear fashion, a mechanical fashion, and a logical fashion. So how did so many people get swept up in COVID or whatever the du jour, whatever the atrocity du jour is? Because they don't think clearly, because they're not out on farms anymore fixing things, like solving problems. Like, it cannot be a coincidence that every fucker I know who works with his hands didn't give a shit about any of this stuff. Yeah. Nothing. And everyone who was sitting in their air-conditioned cubicle was freaked out, or sitting in their home just watching CNN or staring at their phone was freaked the fuck out.
Right.
So here's how it works. We need a certain percentage of this country problem solving and doing something of a physical, mechanical nature that used to be built into everyone's life. Every dad would have to clean the gutters or fix the projects on the weekend, or, you walk outside of your house and a big branch has fallen against your side of your house, and then you have to look at it and you have to go, should I get up on a ladder and try to pull it off? And then you think, well, maybe, but if I did, it could hit the ladder, knock me off the ladder, and I could get fucked up. Right. So then thought process number 2 is I could go to the middle of this big tree branch and start sawing it in the middle, but then what if it just tacoed in half and hit me? So then you go, well, if I take a rope and I tie it to the base of it, and then I tie it to my trailer hitch, and I pull the bottom out of my car, and I'll drop it on the ground, and then I'll cut it into smaller pieces. These are all thoughts that people would have on an almost daily basis.
Yeah, well, and also it's like if you had to take that branch off and you put a kid in front of it, it wouldn't be. You would say, "Hey, just move the branch and make it gone by the time I get back in 2 hours." They would ask how, right? They would need direction. It's almost impossible for people just to do it themselves now.
There were sort of physical, mechanical mandates that were woven into every American's life on a daily basis. It was like you had to factor in risk. It's like, all right, you can get a chainsaw out, but do you want to do the chainsaw on the ladder? Maybe you should tie the ladder off to the house. Just all the assessments, just all the stuff that people who have real jobs and build and everything every day. And then that used to be half society. Guys worked in logging camps and lumber mills, and they worked on farms and stuff. And so those people had a very pragmatic relationship with life. Well, now we said to those people, get off of the farm, get out of the logging camp, and get onto a college campus. And then you could evolve. You could go further in life. You'd have more ideas and stuff like that. So that became the goal.
And we hold that in a higher regard.
He's the first. He's the first Romanowski to go to college, whatever the name was. He'd be the first. You'd be hailed as a hero, as the first guy in your. And then it started happening more and more, and then colleges turned into some fucked up, bizarre, upside-down indoctrination world of horrible ideas taught by like-minded people who never worked on a farm. These people have tenure on college campuses and have no experience in the real world, like never ran a small business. Then they're offloading their shitty, half-baked, fakakta ideas on every 18-year-old that walks in there. Now society is littered with dumbass people who don't think in a linear fashion. They don't know how to solve problems. They don't think mechanically. They think, and they're feelings based. And now they're in charge. So when some shit goes down, of course they react like hypochondriac pussies. They don't know any better. They're not thinking in a sort of risk. They're not assessing risk. They're not thinking in a linear fashion, and they're not mechanically based. They're just there's a thing out there, and it's coming for me.
Yeah.
Mask up in between bites. It's not the thought of a guy who works with his hands. And also, as Dr. Drew pointed out, how come the middle of the country didn't get all fucked up about this? The flyover states. Why aren't they in full puss mode like New York and California and these, Seattle and these places? Why didn't they go nuts in Muncie, Indiana? Because those guys work.
Right. But we think on the coast.
we went to college, so we're going to tell your dumb blue-collar ass how COVID worked.
They're looked at from the coast as,
yes.
They're dumb, and they just don't know what's going on. The rednecks, what do they know?
Right. So,
and
then Drew said...
Not me, by the way.
Then he said he strained his pool. He skimmed his pool with the pool skimmer.
Uh-huh.
So he felt good after doing that. I said, you got to do something.
Sure.
You have to have a project. Your brain will eat itself. Everything you're seeing around you is the function and caused by people leaving the farm, going to college campuses, and then going into a cubicle. These are all the worst ideas. And then who the fuck is running the society? I mean, who's the mayor? Who's the governor? Who's the health coordinator? Not a guy who worked on a farm.
Yeah.
It's the college people. And they bring their fucking horrible ideas that never work because they can't think in a you tell a mechanical mind, here's what we're doing. He's going to go, it's got to work. It's got to have results.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why we're where we're at.
Is that something you want to teach in schools, or is it just we start drafting people into doing manual labor for a couple of years?
No, I mean, Drew's like, well, how does this end? And I'm like, look, there's no course correction. You can't tell these dumb shits they need to go out and chop some wood. You just have to go move to Florida and move into a neighborhood with people who chop wood.
Oh, so you just have to just surround yourself in that kind of environment now.
Yeah, you have to just go. Whenever the next pandemic comes in, if you would like to take your kids to Disneyland or Disney World, you can't do it if you're here. Mm-hmm. And if you're a small business, you can't stay open if you're here. So you just gotta move.
Yeah. I have a kid on the way, and I'm thinking, okay, get that college fund started. But
what the fuck does everyone do? College doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Get a trade fund started or something. But yeah, it's a different time. So, all right. Well, I also want to talk about Woody Harrelson. So he hosted SNL last weekend, and he sparked some controversy with a little bit of his monologue. So he took aim at COVID vaccine mandates when he was talking about, quote, the craziest script he's ever read. And here's the video.
Hey, so the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea?
Yeah, so people didn't really like that. And Rolling Stone was tweeting about him.
I love what Rolling Stone has turned into.
Yeah, so Rolling Stone first, they tweeted, Woody Harrelson spreads COVID conspiracy theories during SNL monologue.
I love that we're at the point where Rolling Stone is on the side of Big Pharma. That's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, what happened?
They love the government.
Rolling Stone.
All I want to do is reanimate my mom and my grandma and explain to them, oh, whose side are you on? Oh, Mom, you didn't know this? You're on the side of Big Pharma? You defend the FBI. You love China. Those are your those are your new marching orders. So go fucking do it. Go do your new marching orders, because that's your new marching orders. Rolling Stone. Jesus Christ, what a shit rag.
They also tweeted, Woody Harrelson, who has a history of spreading COVID conspiracy theories, goes on bizarre anti-vax tangent during the SNL monologue.
First off, okay. Can we, Rolling Stone, can we sign off on some simple notions, at least to find some form of agreement? Can we sign off on the notion that Big Pharma is in the business of selling their product, sometimes to the detriment of society at large? Can we sign off on a general concept?
Just open your mind a
Just
little
open your mind to all the oxycodone that was out there and all the pain pills and killers. Can we open our mind to the concept that they are for-profit businesses, and that occasionally people take their product who don't really need their product, but they would like them to take it because they then profit from that? Is that a concept that the Rolling Stones will sign off on?
Right.
The magazine. Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Then can we sign off on the concept that oftentimes big business, and it could be Big Pharma, and I don't know who's bigger than Big Pharma, but it could be big anything, big agriculture, which ironically is not named Pharma, but it should be named Pharma, or big oil or whatever, medicine. Insurance, can we also sign off on the concept of those guys having lobbyists and paying lots of money to lots of lobbyists and lots of politicians' campaigns to do legislation that might benefit their business? Can we sign off on that? Can we sign off on the concept of Big Pharma spending billions of dollars on advertising on news stations for their products? Can we sign off on that concept? And if we've signed off on those three concepts, this cannot be a conspiracy theory. It can be a theory.
Right.
Because there's way too much in Woody's favor here. And the concept of telling young people who are perfectly healthy to get vaccinated with a vaccine that's not effective or that you have to retake constantly. Does that seem fishy to people, considering, remember who profits from it? The more people, look, if you can get a bunch of 80-year-olds to take the vaccine, that's fine, but they're going to die in 2 years. They're not going to need to get boosted. If you can make it part of the vaccine protocol for every 15-year-old or 12-year-old in the country, you're going to be buying a lot of that toothpaste for the rest of your life. So, yes, Woody, maybe a little out there, but it's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's just a theory.
Well, where's the line between conspiracy and theory then?
Well, as you've learned from all the lab leak theories, they add conspiracy in front of it, or they just add debunked theory. You know, it's the debunked lab leak theory. And then you go, oh, yeah. So that's like Trump's version of that is like Sleepy Joe Biden. Like he put Sleepy in there. I don't know how Sleepy Joe is, but he inserted it. So then you turn on the news and they go, a debunked lab leak theory from Senator Tom Cotton, 2020 of April. And then idiots watch it and they go, oh, no, that was debunked. They said it was a debunked theory. They put conspiracy theory or debunked in front of shit they don't like that probably either happened or is happening.
Yeah.
Now, what Rolling Stone is doing, I know not. I don't know why everyone wanted to cash in all their fucking credibility and just turn into fucking bootlicking hacks. I don't know when that happened, but they are. They have, and now Rolling Stone is on the side of the FBI, and they're on the side of Big Pharma, and they're on the side of China.
I think it started when they put NSYNC on the cover.
Oh, really?
That was the beginning of the downfall.
Yeah, they're compromised.
Yeah.
And look, they can't even come up with a greatest singer list and
No,
with Celine Dion in it. Come on.
Would you, remember Rolling Stone? Remember that? We can find the picture. Remember it was like 2 years ago, and they printed that story that people are being turned away from emergency rooms. Gunshot victims were being turned away from emergency rooms because people are all piling in to get ivermectin or something. God. And it never fucking happened. And that was in like the middle of the summer and it was on the Midwest or something like that. And the picture they showed was people wearing ski beanies and parkas. And I was like, that's not people lined up in front of a hospital trying to get ivermectin.
Yeah,
and by the way, no emergency room would turn away somebody with a gunshot wound because someone is OD'd on ivermectin or whatever. I didn't even know what their theory was. It never happened, is my whole point. Yeah, it's Rolling Stone. What month is this from?
Yeah, the title is Gunshot Victims on the Left Waiting as Horse Dewormer Overdoses Overwhelm Oklahoma Hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very leading.
That came out during the summer. And everyone is wearing hoods with the hoods up and parkas and ski hats.
Dewormer overdoses.
I don't know what Rolling Stone is doing. I don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like if you said, oh, Bryan Cranston has agreed to do a commercial and be a spokesman for a butt plug company, you'd go like, no, like don't do it. You don't
I'll take 10, but don't do it.
Yeah, preferably used, but Brian, don't do it. You're held in high regard. You've earned a reputation. It took you years to get to that point. Why throw it all away, Rolling Stone? Why be some kind of weird leftist hack rag now, like making up stories about ivermectin, showing pictures of people wearing fucking gloves and parkas in the middle of the summer? It's a picture of people waiting in line. Obviously, it's just a random picture of people waiting in line that could be the fucking airport. It's during the winter. This thing came out in like July. What are you doing, Rolling Stone? I don't know. They're like, we're down with the cause. What is your cause?
I don't think they even know now. Yeah,
Woody Harrelson is what rock and roll and Rolling Stone used to be.
Against the grain.
The dude smokes the weed, dances to the tune of his own piper. Those are your guys. What happened?
Yeah, and that was your old audience.
I know.
Who's your audience now? Who do you think your audience is going to be?
I don't know. Fuck Rolling Stone. But anyway, yeah, this is great. So it's a picture of gunshot victims.
On the left.
I don't.
They actually, they look like they'll be okay. So maybe,
do you see any blood on any of these people?
That's what I'm saying. So maybe they should wait in line. I don't see.
Do you see a tourniquet anywhere?
No.
Are these people have all been shot?
They're wearing big coats. Who knows what's happening internally and under their.
So it's gunshot victims
on the left. Sorry, not on the left. Gunshot victims are left waiting as horse dewormer overdoses overwhelm Oklahoma hospitals.
Right. Except for none of this ever happened.
No, nobody looks panicked.
They're bored.
They're bored. If someone has her arms folded,
yeah, and nobody,
unless her chest
and nobody
is shot.
died of ivermectin either, and it's not horse pace. Oh, fuck all
that's
these
what I'm
people.
saying. Like,
they're such idiots.
As horse dewormer overdoses. That's the title. Come on.
All right. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Let's see here. Also, Jake Paul finally lost.
Yeah, he should have come seen me before.
I know.
He does this good luck interview with me, and then he fights.
He's never lost after an interview with Adam Carolla.
That's right.
So, yeah, you should be doing the exact same thing. Like, were you superstitious in that way in sports? Just repeat? Or like baseball's a ton of superstitions, right? Wear the same socks.
Well, they have to because they're bored out of their brains, and so they start coming up with things like I'm step out of the box, undo my batting glove, and redo the Velcro. This is like that doesn't happen in hockey because it's an actual sport.
There's
like they're
involved.
Emotion. There's no eating on the bench. There's no redoing everything. It's all
make yourself crazy.
Baseball is an interesting metaphor, which I'm going to circle back to what we were talking about and tie it in with that, which is when you leave people and they're not engaged, they start getting into kooky, almost religious patterns. You know what I mean? So take the aforementioned guy who's working on the construction site. He doesn't have a bunch of kooky rituals. You know what I mean? He's just on his feet, sweating. He's working. He's like working all day. His ritual is whatever he likes in his burrito. You know, he does. Some guys like beans. Some guys want the rice and beef in there, whatever. He has no rituals. You then take people, and that's hockey. Mm-hmm. That's people just sweating and moving and chasing a puck, and there's nothing. Then you take a sport like baseball and you tell people there's a lot of downtime for you to think about. You're not up for 7 batters, but you can sit here and think about it. That's when all the kooky ritualistic stuff kicks in. And it's what happened when you tell everyone, hey, lock it down. Just no schools, no beach, no nothing. Just go home and sit home and you just be alone with your thoughts. That's where all the kooky rituals come in. That's where all I got to quarantine this box that FedEx dropped at my house for a week so the COVID disease could come out. It's all the same kooky ritual, but the kooky ritual is born of the lack of engagement, of physical having something to do.
It's too much time to think.
That's what we ended up with, is a bunch of fucking kooks who were sitting home, and then it got supersized by the fact we told the super non-religious kooky people to stay home with their thoughts and think. Mm-hmm. And then all the bad ideas came out from that.
Yeah,
that's how it worked.
That's their version of unvelcroing their gloves. And
yes,
back on
but it was an interesting thought experiment to find out how fucked up and dumb and kooky everyone was.
Yeah,
that was
we sure did.
Yeah.
So Jake Paul's first fight against a true boxer, Tommy Fury. So Tommy handed Jake the first loss of his career on Sunday night in Saudi Arabia. Fury beat Paul via split decision in the 8-round bout, despite getting knocked down in the final round. Judges scored at 76-73 twice for Fury and 75-74 once for Paul. Paul didn't really agree, he's tweeted out, but he tweeted, "Don't judge me by my wins, judge me by my losses. Congrats to Tommy, his team, and his family." He's been very gracious about this loss, considering how confident and maybe even cocky he is going into these things. And by the way, Paul's fight purse reportedly $3.2 million, but also 65% of the pay-per-view money.
I heard it was about $30 million.
Yeah, and then Fury was supposed to get a $2 million purse plus 35% of the pay-per-view money, and and they want a rematch. They both have already verbally agreed to let's do it again.
Did what was Fury's record out of this?
And it was not good. So Fury, his record's good. He held an 8-0 record, right? 4 knockouts heading into the fight, but his 8 opponents combined, their record was 24, 176, and 5.
Wow.
So yeah, he wasn't really technically fighting.
Yeah, so it's about competition.
Yeah,
and you can take anyone's. I used to go to this boxing gym, and there's this heavyweight and blah blah blah, and he was like 18-0, but fighting guys who were like wearing cowboy hats and fat, like I mean, you want to really work with somebody, you can get their record to 15-0 or 20-0 before they have to start really fighting people.
Right.
There's a lot of tomato cans, as they used to say out there.
Yeah, and I mean don't a lot of fighters do that?
I don't know. I mean, imagine some do, but you'll never really climb the ranks beating no names, So it is tough. I mean, it was addressed in Rocky 3?
Not 4.
4?
No.
4.
Was it 4?
I don't know, 3 or 4. He'd been Burgess
Yeah,
Meredith.
in the beginning of 3, he was fighting all the no-name boxers, and then Clubber Lang came up and said, "What you want to see what it's like to be with a real man? Come on, woman.
Yeah.
I'll show you, woman." Yeah. Yeah.
That was a fair to middling Clubber Lang.
Thank you.
That's very good. Mm-hmm. So Jake Paul also joked because Drake bet $400,000 that Jake Paul would knock out Fury. And so Drake lost, and Jake Paul joked that he lost because Drake made that bet and jinxed him.
The thing about Drake is the $400,000. That is it. 400,000.
Yeah,
that's a prop bet for him. That's for him.
Right.
That's you and your friends on the Super Bowl. Just you betting $30 on the coin toss as a prop bet. That it's right. Equivalent
a knockout
to that. His $400,000. That's just a side prop bet. For
sure.
Him. Net worth $250 million.
Drake.
That's what it says.
I believe it. He has his own private plane. And it's a big one.
Lady Gaga is worth more though. Did we figure that out?
I guess. Well, yeah. You said Lady Gaga was $350
or $320 or something like that.
I find that
I don't know.
Hard to believe.
Is that Drake's plane or is that somebody's plane that got wrapped in Drake? That's a big ass plane.
It's too big.
I can tell you like a medium sized plane, like a private jet. First off, this is a commercial jet.
Yeah.
That says Air Drake on it. There's got to be some story. First off, why does Drake need an 80-seater? Number one. Number two, he definitely doesn't own that jet. That jet that jet is a.
It has his name on it, Adam.
That jet is $200 million, or $175 million, or $300 million, and then in order to take that thing, it's $110,000 an hour or $200,000 an hour. Like, there's no way he owns that jet. First off, it wouldn't make sense.
Financially.
There's a jet that he had wrapped, and he put his name on it, and he uses it and leases it or some version of that.
Yeah.
Gaga's $320.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Find out what the deal with Drake's jet is.
Does he own this jet?
Because if you could get around security, Max Zapata, you could jump the fence at the Van Nuys Private Airport, and we could quickly stick on a decal with your name on it
Okay.
On the side of like Mark Garagos' jet, and then I could take a quick picture before we're both tackled by security.
Oh, I wouldn't own the jet at that point?
No, see, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
You can't claim it in the name of
like where this is
Spain.
going.
No, it's not your jet. I don't think this is. We're looking at a 737, like an Airbus here or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be his jet. It's not his jet. I'm going.
But it's Drake. They probably donated it to him. Mike Gaga said it's his jet. All right. Lastly, there's this viral video that's been going around, but it's from 1985. And the thing is, these things kind of just recirculate and become trending.
Mm-hmm.
And so in December of 1985, there's a thing called Operation Flagship. A lot of people have been tweeting this. I'm sure you've seen it too.
Yeah.
And it was a joint effort by law enforcement to lure wanted fugitives by means of inviting them to Washington, D.C.'s Convention Center for a party and a Redskins ticket giveaway to the Super Bowl. So, and we can watch, here's the news report. It's pretty great. 1985. And by the way, the first letters of this new channel was the Fugitive Investigative Strike Team, but they called it Flagship International Sports Television. Same initials. I can't recall it.
It was like Chris Collinsworth when he was like 23, like kind of rookie in the league, maybe second year guy. And he's like being interviewed in like same year, like 1985 or something. And he's like, I tell you, man.
He's partying.
I like the women. I like the dumb ones. Easier to get out of the club. Like you want to talk about not aging well in a different society. Drake partnered with Cargo Jet for the planes. Seems Cargo Jet gifted it to him. Cargo Jet. Hold on.
Cargo Jet.
No. Cargo Jet did not gift him a $300 million plane. Cargo Jet let him wrap it and like use it for like some promotional whatever. He didn't gift him the plane.
Oh, they just wrapped it, but they didn't gift wrap it.
They didn't have a bow on it like the Mercedes commercials.
I don't know. If you gift somebody a plane, that's your plane. Drake has a suit on his hands.
We'll take a deeper dive into this of what it was. Is it a 737 or is it an Airbus or whatever it is? But this Chris Collinsworth, the Ontario-based Cargo Jet, gave Boeing 767, that's a huge jet, for free to wrap her in the form of an organic partnership.
Okay, so it was an endorsement deal, but he was gifted it. That's a gift.
I'm still saying bullshit. What is a 767? Forget about Chris Collinsworth. We'll do that.
Let's do that tomorrow.
What does a 767 cost? There's no goddamn way they gifted it to him. They let him use it or something.
Wait, Gary has answers.
It is part of their agreement, but Cargo Jet is still listed as the owner. They're the registered owner of it. So they gifted it to him, but they still own it.
So
I'd be
Chris,
so pissed if I was Drake.
If I gifted you a fanny pack, but I still owned it,
ridiculous.
Would that be a gift? All right. Well, surprise.
Well, then say you gifted me the fanny pack.
Oh, okay.
Boeing 767 goes anywhere from $217 to $220 million, depending on if you get the freighter or not.
Yeah, right.
Drop in the bucket for Drake, though.
They didn't they didn't gift it to him. They own it. That's a bullshit promotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rolling Stone type that.
See, guess what, people? If you just think logically, you'll know everything. And then you can go on the internet and go, it says it gifted to him.
So if you ask Drake, hey, is that your jet? He would say no.
He might say yes, but he'd be bullshitting. It's a $200 million jet. They didn't give it to him. They own it. They do some sort of cross promotion or something. Like when Kendrick Lamar.
Sure.
He has his own meal at McDonald's, but he doesn't own that McDonald's. He just kind of comes in and puts barbecue sauce on shit.
Yeah.
This is that. Yes. It's not gifted. Gift means here, take this jet. They're still registered as the owners. Why isn't he registered as the owner?
It's too much paperwork.
It's bullshit. It's not his jet.
He knows it's his jet. He can do whatever he wants with it.
You're living in a Drake-based fantasy, bro. And I'm not going in there with you. All right. Las Vegas coming up March 9th. Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. I'll be there doing stand-up, and we'll have some friends up on stage. Naples, Off the Hook, March 24th, 25th. Doing 4 shows there. What else? Nate Bargatze, Hello World's the name of his special. AdamCarolla.com is where you go for all the live shows. Until next time, Adam Carolla for Nate Bargatze and Chris Max Battis saying, Mahala.